Wave. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the pod. Y'all are here with your two favorite people on the internet, or should I say for today, your two favorite virtual islanders. Yours truly, Uncle Don Don, everybody's favorite uncle, joined by my virtual half, Qualls, aka.
Mr. Qualified, how y'all doing? And man, we have a bombshell on the show today.
You did
Uh Special guest, the crossover episode that people probably didn't think they was gonna get, that people didn't know they needed. But if you are paying attention to any other qualified content and you watch the Right Quality Podcast, you have seen this face and you have definitely heard his crazy takes before. But Brother
it.
Gail, please introduce yourself to a new audience, a new community of people.
Hello. Way to introduce me into new bombshell has entered the villa. 6 feet, 5'10", if we're talking A standards. I am a bubbly personality. I like long walks on the beach. And my highlight of this summer was also basketball, but I do have a lovely girlfriend as well. I'll mention that as well. Miguel. Big watcher, I guess. I guess we'll get into that soon, but I'm very excited to talk this content with you guys.
Yes, absolutely. It's a lot to get into for sure, but it should be fun. I'm going to assume that most of the people watching and listening, more than likely, if you haven't watched Love Island, you've at least heard of it. I know for a fact you've heard about this crazy show, and some of the contestants on it. And we were trying to wait until the end of the season, but I guess you can call this a deep dive, not so much on the season in and of itself, but kind of Love Island, the show, reality TV, the culture that is being created around it. Just given how popular this season has become for one reason or another. But yeah, we can just, I guess, start with kind of the background of Love Island, because I think that's a big thing about how everything kind of transpired with this season. So, Miguel, I know you're an OG watcher of Love.
At least Love Island UK seasons 1 through 5, and then these latest 2 seasons of US. Also, let's just get into it. Big Bachelor person, big Bachelorette person. Way back in the day when they had 2 Bachelorettes, but then they got rid of one on day 1, so just didn't fall for the false advertising. That's when I kind of dipped out of the reality TV. Love Osphere until we had Are You the One on MTV, also phenomenal. So very well versed in my love watching content. Yeah. Also Hopeless Romantic. We'll throw that in there. I just think that Love Island is a very interesting show just to watch for the social dynamics of people, see how people interact, see a different culture. When I first watched Love Island UK, there was almost like intro of reality TV, and it just felt very raw, very we're hopping into this as the ground zero of this show, and we're going to be our authentic selves truly, and a bunch of varying ages of it felt so real back then, and seeing where it's gone now. I'm very interested to talk with you guys who have what is your depth of Love Island watching? Steve, I think you might be 2 seasons deep.
Yeah, 3 seasons in for Love Island. Didn't watch UK just
Okay.
because, just didn't get into it. I'll get in more about that because I don't watch Love Island because I'm a fan as much as I watch it for some of the things that you just described, as far as just really seeing how people interact in this social experiment that they call in this reality TV show.
Yeah.
But you brought up an interesting point, because I know this is Donald's first time watching Love Island, but I didn't consider all the other reality TV that you've watched as well. So I guess that's another layer of perspective.
Season six winner, as in fact, I've done
Forgot
my
that bit,
part.
right. Donald
Yeah.
hasn't watched season 6 yet, so he doesn't know. He doesn't
I,
he
I
doesn't
mean,
get
I know who won. I do know who won, but I have not watched season 6. You said yet. I don't plan on watching season 6.
there. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a newbie. I just tapped in by force for season 7. My coworkers and then also Qualls was like, you got to watch this show. And I like reality TV. I like reality competition shows, and I
What
love.
reality TV have you watched a lot of? Specific.
Well, I like reality competition shows. So Survivor obviously would be my number one for Steve to
Yeah.
know, but Survivor, Big Brother, American Idol, The Voice. Now if we're talking dating shows, I was a next kid, I was Room Raiders, I was all in that era. So
Control.
yeah, you got oh, and then for the culture, we got Flavor of Love, I Love New York, Real Chance of Love.
Yeah.
That was all the of love shows. I was even real once for a show in college, so like I'm heavy in the lore. I just did not
Okay.
tap into
Yes.
Love Island till right now.
Fair. Fair.
That's real. That's real. So
I
the
was
premise,
Big Brother with my brother, and my family loves Survivor too. Those are like the two like OGs.
yeah, Donald gonna be on. I don't know season 79. I don't know what season they on, but he gonna be on one of these next seasons. We throwing it in the atmosphere.
Let's go.
But so with Love Island, the premise of this show, I think the premise of all reality love shows is relatively interesting, but that might just be my personal perspective on the way things are kind of portrayed in media now. It doesn't seem as reality or as realistic outside the fact that these are real people and like this is happening in real time, but like this is not how things really happen in the real world.
Yeah.
But premise on this show, like these young, sexy individuals, as they are marketed, come on this island, and to find love and explore these connections, because that's the goal, is to
Like
explore.
you got 6 weeks. You get coupled up at first to see if like, oh yeah, like this is the connection I want to explore, and then they'll drop a bombshell in the villa here and there, and then see if people get tempted and break those connections and explore new ones. After 6 weeks, yeah, they decide who are the 5 best couples, then do a final four. Winner gets to split $100,000, but then at the end, they actually get to decide, oh, all right, did you come here for love or for a game? So one person gets the 100,000, you decide to split it or not. And I think every year, nobody has decided to be like, you know what, after all this, I'm going to take the 100K, which would be cinema. But yeah, that is the premise.
So I think as viewers, we have an idea of what the approach should be to the island and the show in and of itself, based off of probably our own perception of just how we would approach dating. But obviously, I don't know if it's the age thing, so to say, because I think dating does look different in the age groups based on like the people who are on the show versus like all the people who are genuinely watching the show. Because it has become way more widespread to all generations at this point, pretty much watching this show. But I'm interested in you all's thoughts and ideas on is there an ideal approach in your mind? And did you have contestants where you feel like you liked their approach in terms of how maybe balanced and well-rounded it might have been? Or did you just see a lot of people kind of just winging it and throwing shit at the wall, seeing if it stick? And that's how some of the chaos ensued.
I don't know if I would say there's a specific like strategy or approach that works because let's be real, this was bug juice with condoms, right? There's no approach to where you just have like some televised island brothel, right? Everybody was tonguing everybody down every 5 minutes, and I have been in my 20s too, okay? So I'm aware, but
Pocket.
it's no approach when you can't talk because somebody's tongue is down your throat. But I could also see the approach of like, do I really get invested in one person and lock in like some people did? Or do I just say like, hey, I'm kind of playing the field. I like you, but I'm gonna wait to see what happened in 3 days. I guess it all just depends.
So long-winded a bit, but necessary. I think that there were people that came in and had an idea of like, you're playing the game wrong, so therefore you're wrong, or because you're doing it differently, I don't like that, and you guys should stop this. And I think that there was too much game playing and too much pocket watching entirely by certain individuals that I'll get to later. With that being said, I think production Shouts out to Dante Nash. I'm gonna put his government out there. Content creator as well, artist. He said his thesis is that Miguel, not me, but Miguel from season 6, messed up the game with, there was like a kissing challenge or some challenge, and Miguel went crazy, and like it was like that was like the hot clicked moment that production saw. And I think this year the challenges were half, like you said, brothel-esque. There were mentions of Diddy parties on the TL, and how dare we? But yeah, like it was crazy. Where it's just like we're doing stuff that, granted, Love Island has always been, a risque show. They've always done. They haven't never not leaned into the sexiness of their contestants. Like, don't get me wrong, but we didn't get, a lot of things that we usually got in old Love Islands. There were no real couples to be tested. There was no lie detector. There was no movie night. There was no like there's so much no tweet challenge. I mean, granted, we got like pieces of that throughout, but it's like we were missing so many recipes in terms of like real coupling ups. Like we had like, granted, like, yes, the thing is to explore, but you also explore your connections and like not just the house. So like that's where it's like, yeah, it really felt like 6 weeks of just people tonguing each other down indiscriminately until they just said, yep, it's the last week. I guess we got to find strong couples. And we ended up with, marriage counseling, number one, that got divorced before the final even happened. We got friends that ended up being together because someone couldn't get certain words out of their mouth and production yanked them, a la Yalissa. And then Amaya and Brian. And then, I like blondes, which, sorry that everyone's in that chat saying that, Pepe, but damn, someone said that he should have just went to a Starbucks and, a
Starbucks is
that's a heavy comment. Like that was just the track record. He couldn't, but sorry. Yeah. Like I said, a little long-winded, but I don't think that anyone went into playing the game wrong other than the people that seemed like they were trying to play the game. You're there to find love. Like,
valid.
That's real. Yeah, Miguel, you brought up a lot of great points. And Donald, I want to ask you, because this was your first exposure to Love Island, like what was your initial reaction and what is your reaction after watching one season? Because this season was very, very different from some of the it was very different from some of the previous seasons. So you had a lot of people who are watching it for the first time that don't even realize how off script things kind of went from what people who have been watching typically expect and want to see. So yeah, what was your initial reaction to everything?
Y'all not the first people to say that to me, to say this was a bad season to watch for the first time.
It was good for the wrong reasons.
It was good for the wrong reasons, right? So I'm like, that part of me wants to take the bait and watch another season and say, like, what is this really about? Because I didn't really understand the premise. I understood that it was a dating show and they would mix and mingle and somebody would win. I didn't realize that they would at some point possibly get voted off if they didn't get matched. I didn't realize that America would have a hand in how some of the game went. And I also didn't realize that they would have opportunity to win money at the end and choose that over love, which as a concept on paper, I would definitely pick to show up, right?
Yeah.
But I had to I had to temper my 35-year-old eyes and mind watching the show because 2 episodes in, and mind you, I binged. So I didn't watch when the season
Oh, yeah.
started. I did like a serious binge on like 20 episodes at first and then kind of caught up. But 2 episodes in, these people were crying over like they're like, oh, best friend, bestie, oh, I think I really like him and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking like, be so fucking for real. Like you just met them 12 hours ago. Like y'all just had craft services leave the island. Like what is really good? But
Yeah.
it makes sense because as somebody who wants to be on reality TV, I understand that you are secluded with that group of people that cast, and those are the only people you see, which is why I said it's bug juice with condoms. It's summer camp where you are allowed to, fraternize. But once I got past that, and honestly, I think it was maybe the first recoupling where somebody left. or it was the first America vote somewhere in there, I was just like, oh, drama. Okay, okay, I'm into it. I'm into it because I was like, I'm thinking like, what's the psychology behind this? Like, who did the dating, coaching, and the matching? Because everybody came on the island and seemed to be open to everybody. You know, like the fact that Iris came on the island and was like, Ace isn't my type, but he's really good conversation. Now I'm considering him in the real world. She would have never walked by him and talked to him. You know, so I'm like, I'm here for that, but once I realized that they were 23, 24, 27, I had to put myself there and say, like, would I act the same way? Probably because, my dating life hadn't matured yet. So I would feel butt hurt about every little wrong thing too. Like, oh, damn, I didn't get eggs this morning. Now you must not like me.
Yeah. It's, like I said, great social experiment. Like, I think this is one of the best that we've had. But
Social experiments.
Incredible. I mean, like, just documenting the human experience in this nature, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the aliens would understand what they're watching if they put the tape in of this season alone, too. They'd be like,
No, that's a great point. But I mean, you brought it up earlier, Gail. Like, I think based on the 2 seasons that I watched, I think the biggest thing that threw me off this season was the fact that it got so strategic. There are reality TV shows that are meant for strategies. You can go be on a reality competition show if you worried about getting the next person off so you can get to the bread, right? Like if that's what you want, there are other shows for that. But I think to a point that you've made off camera, Miguel, I think the reason why, Donald, I would say if you were going to watch any other season, you should watch six, is because six was the season that I personally think, at least in America, catapulted the brand of Love Island. But I think the season went pretty ideal and I want a season to go. And so it gave the narratives for these contestants that when you're seeing these contestants a year later, still having brand deals, having their own reality TV show, it's because those were all authentic, I think portrayals that we got versus this season. I feel like a lot of people came in trying to figure out how do I build myself to have that type of marketability whenever I'm done on the island, whether I win or not. Like, how do I position myself to be able to get XYZ, hopefully have America like me because they saw what happened to the people who America loved from last season. And I don't want to say that that's disingenuous because I mean it's a natural part of going on reality TV. Like you going on the show partially because of what you've seen. So in a way, you probably want some of the things that come with it outside of love. Like obviously there's some notoriety that comes with it, but I do feel like that's one of the major factors that made the season less likable, not only for OG fans, but even for people watching for the first time. All the confusion, all the kind of like, what am I watching? I think that came from there being a new, if it was even direction at all, but a new direction of what they were trying to do.
And it seemed as if like the questions it was less so about, granted, there were always pointed questions about people, but like there was no really questions about like who's the best who's the biggest game player. Like they didn't like call out each other in like ways that were meaningful towards the game. It was always like even the challenge that Ace got his rocks off, and so did it's crazy verbiage. And so did Huda, but it was the stand on business challenge that serves a purpose, but like there weren't like production would field questions for them and like have them like ask each other questions that were pertinent to like each other's, like the couples. And it's like they couldn't do it because there were no real couples. So it's like you couldn't really say like who's the strongest couple, who's the weakest. They had like America vote for that, and like they didn't get to call out each other for the things that mattered, like which is love. What is this island for? It turned into Bug Juice Island, Bug Juice and Condom Island, as you say. Yeah, like it's like we're missing the plot deeply. And like I think another thing with this season that I think, thank goodness you watched it on a delay, because this was the worst thing about it. It was like granted, there's always going to be dialogue and ships and stan culture that like runs rampant, but like it's parasocial at this point. Like it's getting to a point where you can't watch this show safely. You can't go on the show safely, and you cannot have dialogue on the internet safely without it turning into like hive-minded culture that is like Barb-esque, which I was saying like before we started the pod. It's like they're calling CPS on Huda's family. The Nicolandria stuff with Huda Photoshop onto it, like ridiculous. Like literally like just outwardly harassing people. Like it's the there's a term for it, the enshittification of reality TV watching and just like online culture, where it's just like we open the floodgates to the incels and the red pill community to be in this stuff now, and it's like it's just terrible. Like no, like I'm being so for
not
real.
wrong.
Like
You're not wrong.
because that is the stuff that because how are the girls getting the brunt of it when like the guys that are on the show, when we have their history and their timeline, they get nothing. It's mum. Like we can't say that isn't the primary reason, because like it's black women getting the brunt, brown women getting the brunt, and then there's culture defending Sierra, saying it wasn't even that bad what she said. Like these are the dynamics that we're dealing with here, and it's just like shut up and watch the show. Like it doesn't have to get that deep. Like you don't have to go out and act on someone's behalf that you've never met because they wronged your ship, or they did like it's never that deep. Like, and that's why the vein is popping out right here right now, because like it was just unbearable. I couldn't even watch, like, you know, that fuck a spoiler. Like I don't want to go on there and see 2020 trauma porn about one of the contestants, and like we're like, you know, like we can't be doing that shit. Like we let the wrong crowd watch this shit, and now like it's up. Sorry. Like I said, I'm sorry for my words, but God, man, it's just like it's unbearable. Like, and I'm one of them. I'm doing all this yapping. Like, come on.
No, it's a thing, because me and Miguel
Like,
are talking about this, and granted, like, you know, we're we're invested, and we're talking because there are conversation points. But to his point about the online community, I think the fact that America, like as a country, genuinely like got a hold of this season, I don't think it was good. It was probably good for ratings. I don't think it's good for the show. I don't think it's good for us as viewers, especially with America having an impact on the show as well. And we can circle back to that at some point. But Donald, I wanted to get your thoughts, if you had any, on the parasocial aspect of things that Miguel was kind of speaking to, because you binged, so you were not catching like the dialogue and the discourse in real time, episode by episode. But I imagine that, you know, once you started watching, you kind of started catching wind and maybe coming into things on the back end. So yeah, what were some of your thoughts on, yeah, the parasocial aspect of the show, especially for this season?
Well, I didn't know it went as far as the like general public harassment of contestants, which I think is
Oof.
wild. But it was in my timeline heavy before I even started the show. So that's
yeah.
why I was just like, okay, I see it on the timeline. They talk about it at work. You've said it. I'm like, okay, let me just give in and follow this wave and watch this damn show. But to the parasocial point, I think people just, we said this in a previous episode or future, depending on when you see this, but like people just need to go and touch grass. I think it is wildly misunderstood across people that if you see somebody on TV, that you watch them, that you do whatever, whether it is a stage play, whether it is the nightly news or reality TV, you don't know these people. This is at the end of the day, even if they are genuine people with genuine connections for Love Island, it's still a performance because you're just filming what is going on, right? And yes, these are things that happen in real life without the cameras there. You might speed it up because production sets it up that way, but you don't know these people. So why are you so involved in what they do to the point where the voting? I mean, it's nice that you have America's vote and stuff like that, but some of the coupling that ended up at the end with how they I forgot what the name of the challenge was, but they had them ranked 1 to 10, and you either
Oh
got
yeah,
good.
yeah, yep.
The people that got last, it was obvious that they were either going to be voted off or not liked because of America's perception of people's relationships. So I feel like Taylor got a lot of heat because they're like, oh, he didn't like Alandria to begin with. He was just trying to be on the show. And he may have liked her, right? But to your point, Miguel, you said you got to explore this connection. He may see her and say, like, damn, she is fine. I would like to get to know her, but he not feeling the spark. And because, I mean, it ain't so many country men she can pick from, she really kind of liked the pace of Taylor. And then Clark came along and she was just like, so I'm chopped liver. And he like, oh, I'm a little high school boy because I think I'm in love. Like he had a connection with her, but America was like, nah, you can't like Clark. You gotta like who we want you to like.
Because
So
and I was just going to say like, oh yeah, like shut up and get your words off with your vote. But even then, like I said, the Hive culture has just been so rampant. And granted, when I watch any show, rocking for this Family Feud, Wheel of Fortune, whatever it is, like my people can do no wrong. It comes to a point where it's like, okay, granted, I rocked with Alandria heavy for like the majority of the season. Where she lost me was like your crash out on Taylor. It's like 4 weeks too late. Like, granted that like America could see it before her because the edits made it seem away and showed us what she couldn't see. Because what Taylor would do like around the house, like he was definitely like courting her and like treating her right. But like I think through what we could see, it's like it was missing something. Like with him and Clark, it just seemed effortless. And like I don't think that they should be thrown into the pits just because Alandria Hive is so deep. If what they have is better, we should be voting for the couples that look strongest and best, but the Hives win. That's why, Huda Hive brought her to third. And also, we have to talk politics, people, because the numbers, we can't be shocked that like, oh, how did Huda make it over Shelly and Ace when it's like, we split the black vote? Oh. If we're, like the numbers are going to be the numbers. This is what Elizabeth Warren did to Bernie Sanders in the election. It's just taking away the same pockets of voters. So it's like we have to be smarter. You can't be like, oh, it was rigged. Her hive is too strong. No, we have the same hives if we're rooting for the same things. And this is how we got the finals that we got. You're going to have an Iris and Pepe. You're going to have a Huda and Chris. You're going to have Shelly and Nick for sure. And then Amaya Papaya was, a front runner from just her just being the GOAT. But, sorry, you were going to say something, Donald. I saw like.
Yeah, no, you said something and a light bulb came in talking about how people are looking at these relationships. This whole point on the parasocial relationship is the same thing or is a parallel to when your friend is in a relationship and the other person or whoever they're dating does them wrong or does something different. Like we automatically assume the role of support for our friend. And you can have empathy for your friend, but still say, hey, she was not the one for you. I know like this hurts because you thought you had something going on, but you don't go and like, I don't know, attack the other person. You don't go and be like, oh, now I'm going, slit her tires because she ain't want to go to dinner with you. So and I say that jokingly, but there are some relationships, and I'm not just talking about women, like it's dudes that are ride or die for their crew that will do that. But you hear like the jealous girl, the friends of the girls that you with saying, "Oh no, you're not gonna do my homegirl like that." And that's I feel like where the parasocial part came in. So all of and I love Alandria, but all of her parasocial homegirls was like, "Bet we're not gonna let him do you like that. We're gonna vote him and his new girl down." And it's like
and it's a strong
you
couple.
don't
which also affects the show because are we looking for like you can have somebody on the show that you hope finds a couple, but at the end of the day, if they're not a strong couple, they're not a strong couple. That also brings me to the point of Nicolandria. I have nothing against Nicolandria. I know some people that I've talked to think that I don't ship it. It's cool. It's cute. It's like, hey, do your thing.
You're down with the swirler movement?
the way y'all manifested this and the way y'all forced this upon us
Crazy.
is insane. And
It
production,
was there. It was
it
there.
was
I'm
there.
not saying
I'm not saying it wasn't there,
they were
but
scared of Sierra. Let's say the real thing. The villa
is that
looked
what it
so
was?
harmonious when she left. Once she left, they look like they're in a commercial for, colon cancer medicine. They're all, oh my God, they're all jolly and jovial. Like they're like having the best time. Like she was never there. Look at like the week before, it was all nasty and tense and weird. And then right when she's gone, they're like, this is great. We're in Fiji. Like it was ridiculous.
They should explore more. I think they should explore. I think it should be more. It should be set up to explore more connections and maybe not couple up so early either. Like
They used to have like what was it? What when you do like rapid fire dates? So it was like everyone like they'll have like 3 couples go on. Yeah, speed dating. Like they used to do so much more to really see like force and see like, hey, we have to see who's all here. Like, I don't know. It like we said, it's been diluted. Like it's
yeah. And then last thing on that, because of the way it's diluted, you got people staying not in couples, but you got people staying in connections to stay on the show. Not because the connection is something they believe in or that they feel like the connection is super strong, but just out of safety, out of security to stay on the show and live to fight another day. I'ma stay in this couple that makes sense, that people like the aesthetic of, even if the feeling or the vibe ain't all the way there. So yeah. Terrible.
Because let's keep it a buck. Shelly didn't like Austin
At all.
And she liked Chris Moore. I'm gonna say it out loud. I'm gonna say it out loud. And Ace wanted Huda at the beginning. We're gonna get into all. I'm telling you, there's so much that was peeped that nobody was peeping. And I'm like, from the moment that Huda walked up to Ace at the beginning, it said psych and went to Jeremiah, it was a done deal. That's where it all started for Ace to be like, oh, okay, it's set.
More now.
Excited too. Oh man, I'm telling you, there's so much. It was too much. It was too much game playing, and I think that was their downfall. Like people saw through it. They committed too late when they had the chance all season long. They looked so cute, and it's like they wanted to explore other connections or other perceived connections. When it's like the thing is with Love Island, you explore your connection, and then if it doesn't work and you guys have differences, you guys settle that, and you're like, okay, maybe we aren't the thing. It was Zach and Amaya, and then boom, you've explored your connection. But like no one had to do that. Amaya had the real Love Island experience by force because Ace wanted to be a weirdo. Like, and now she's labeled, explosive defensive. It almost like I was about to cry when she was like talking to Mr. I'm dominant. You're trying to be dominant. But like that was the demon came out. Like that was actually a super touching conversation when like he was like, you can express yourself like anyway, when like I get it, like I'm from a Latin household, like I get like it's the way we speak. Like it made me sad that she had to ask like, what are your love language? How do you like to be seen? Because of what Ace and Austin both did to her by talking all around and not being direct with her. Like that hurts. She's leaving a different person for it. But I'm very happy that Brian said something at the fire pit, because it's like that you just scarred this woman for no reason, because you want to like play chase with Shelly. You want to play tag and you want to be like chase. And it's like, no, like stand on your word. Like because he did a really good job with calling stuff out for what it was, but then did not see the error in his ways and like still felt like he was like, even having Amaya apologize in like the season finale. It's like, granted, I feel like he wasn't asking for that at that point, but it's like, that's just showing like what they did to her. And it's just like that was like infuriating to watch, because it's like, this is not that. Like she is not like all hands on you, like, oh babe, like you're the best. She's just calling you babe. It's how she's addressing you. Like
that was probably in my top 3 things that pissed me off about this season, because everybody can feel how they feel and everybody's feelings are valid, right? If you do have some relationship trauma or some, emotional trauma where people that feel very open and vulnerable and touchy-feely and say, babe, it's too much for you, Ace, I'm gonna believe you, right? Do not in the same damn episode then go and pick a mic. Like you picked her, and then she said, "Oh, babe, thanks." And he like, "Wow, you doing too much." Meanwhile, you making googly eyes across the pool that nobody's swimming in. And Shelly. And it's like that just doesn't make any sense to me. Also, like, well, I feel like we get into some production shit later, but I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of this was not love, a lot of this was production. And not that maybe production did it on purpose, but it just happened that way. I don't know how it works on previous seasons because I didn't watch them. But around the time when Nick and Alandria both got kicked off the island, like drama, wild. Why not let them go back and I mean, why not just cut it
Let him
off? Let them go. If you do bring them back and you bring them back as individuals, maybe they then handpick somebody from, the roster to say like, I would like to maybe couple up with them and see where it goes and start a new connection. But they didn't like each other. Now, were they attracted to each other? Probably, right? But we heard it from the horse's mouth. Alandria said, I think we should just be friends. And Nick said, yeah, I don't really feel anything like that. Maybe it's just that he could have been missing Sierra, whatever, but that was not a natural connection. So when they came back, every confessional, every time she was mic'd, Alandria said, did I just not see it this whole time? Like, I don't know. It wasn't until her mama came and her mama said, oh, yeah, I saw this. And I believe her mother did see something, right? Mother's intuition. But her mother said, oh, no, I like Nick. I like Nick for you. It was so much coded language around Alandria's apprehension of, do I want to be in an interracial relationship? That is how I felt. I could be wrong. But she never once said like I'm attracted to this person and I'm gonna explore it. She kept saying, I didn't see this before and I wonder what other people are gonna think and if they would approve. It's like because she wanted Taylor and she had a one-track mind.
yeah.
Jeremiah or whatever the hell that trucker's man name was that
It's like a pit,
came. Yeah,
like a
he was the country he who was in 8 Mile? Michael Clark Duncan. He was her Michael Clark Duncan. Okay. She didn't want him though. She said, actually, I want my little black Woody. He
hey.
didn't want her. So then she said, well, if I'm gonna stay on the show, I gotta go with Nick. So let's get down with the swirl. I'm here
I
for it, but it was production.
Yeah,
oh
it was an interesting. It was interesting all around. It was exhausting watching this season. And there's already a level of exhaustion that comes with watching reality TV, especially reality dating TV, at least for me personally. But it'll be very interesting to see what they do next season because I think Miguel, you said this, I think they tried to recreate the success of last season between contestants coming on and playing the game a particular way, i.e., a ace, to production having to kind of combat that because it became this thing almost of like, the contestants and production are like kind of going back and forth, like because production does ultimately they're controlling the edits, they're controlling what's happening, the challenges, all these things. So I wonder, given all the feedback, whether that even be about how much research they do into contestants, because there's absolutely no reason that this season alone, 2, 3 people, like y'all need to hire some of these folks. Now, don't get the incels in the red pill community, but hire some of these people online to do y'all background research.
man,
So y'all don't have people coming on the show that y'all got to
like
keep off. Because
IDF
honestly,
supporters kissing
jump.
Palestinian women, Trump supporters kissing Haitian women, like not to say that because granted you have to have people with all political affiliations on these shows, what XYZ, but if there's harmful discourse that they are spewing towards these people or harmful things that they're supporting, and they're what you think Elan's gonna go home and be like, hey Huda, let me meet your Palestinian family. Oh yeah, I followed the IDF for no apparent reason whatsoever. Like let's wake up, like we have to be more. Granted, like I said, you have to have people of all walks of life, but Lord, some questionable decisions.
One last thing to wrap up this conversation. So I feel like we all are okay with the winners, right? Like I feel like nobody's mad at the winners. Would they have been y'all's winners?
If my vote would have been what it could have been for who were like the couples that were like there, who was the strongest couple?
Well, I'm saying like
Taylor and Clark should be our winners of season.
You said Taylor and Clark should be the winners.
Taylor and Clark should 1,000. Like the from what we saw, what their relationship was, you're not a true fan of the show. Even if like, you know, a Hive is a Hive. If you're gonna see a couple that's like, dang, like they like love Nicolandria, but like they look really cute and like they look happy and they look healthy out of everyone. If
Taylor and Clark would have been together from jump, it would have been really hard to convince me that.
And Nicolandria walks in, and then like, you know, like I would do the same if we built that relationship with Clark and we built that fandom. But it's just like, it's so hard when like the votes stack for so many weeks and they build that appeal to their audience. And it's like the Hives, like we got to get out of that culture. We got to just watch a show.
Yeah.
Just like stop standing these people you don't know.
Yeah. Facts.
Like,
did you have a personal winner, Donald?
It would have been Amaya and Brian. If everything played out the way that it did and I casted a vote, it would be for Amaya and Brian. I do support the fact that Clark and Taylor seem to be a legitimate budding couple, but we didn't get a lot of time with Clark, and the time that we got, she just did a lot of this. So, like, if you want my vote and I'm supposed to connect to your relationship, I'm only connected by way of Taylor and not Clark. So I see the way he looks at her, but I didn't get anything else from her. So I wasn't personally attached to them. But my vote would have been for Amaya and Brian. They felt the most realistic. Mutually realistic.
Fair. I think it would have been close. I think I would have voted for Amaya and Brian, but like, would I have wished Taylor and Clark would have won? Out of the strongest couples, I think they could give them a run for their money if we would have seen them a little bit longer.
Yeah, I would not have been surprised at all if Ace and Shelly had won. I do think Ace fell victim to his own strategy because if that too. Well, because I was gonna say, I think a lot of people could agree that the final four should have been Taylor and Clark, Ace and Shelly, Nicolandria, and Amaya and Brian. Like realistically, based off the strength of couples, that should have been the final four. And I honestly wouldn't have been upset at whoever won because all four would have had a legitimate narrative that says, you know, they should win. The only reason, like Nicolandria, like if Nicolandria had won, the only reason I would have been a little like, from a show perspective is because it did not feel organic.
Like they got saved. That'd be unfair to everyone else. Like,
yeah, like even though it's there, like it's not questioning whether it's there or not. It's just how we got there. Because if this show is about exploring connections anyway, at some point in time in them first 2 weeks, if y'all keep pulling each other for challenges and kissing each other, maybe y'all should explore that. Maybe it is the whole Sierra thing. We don't know. But if they would have explored that and that came together more organically at some point, I think it would have been easier for the masses outside of the Nicolandria Hive to like genuinely ship, you know, kind of deal. So
I think if they couple up from that eviction from the house, sure, I think they would have a strong chance of winning.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, reunion should be fun.
So then add any extra talking points that we miss?
I need everybody. I need all of them to stop going on podcasts and just touch grass for some time on their
just have a little circle, talk, pass the talking stick to each other, talk about how each other feels. Have a little meeting of the minds before you go back to that reunion. We don't want them looking like baddies, please.
But Miguel Angelo, thank you for coming over on this crossover episode, man. Yeah, thank you for sharing your insight and coming to just check in with us. Yeah, if y'all don't watch The Wright Quallity, you'll get this type of commentary and these type of, you know, expressions just about sports. So if that's your cup of tea, that's for you to drink, as our Maya Papaya told us.
Thank you for accepting my yap. Much appreciated. This is an honor to be graced on the one, the only. You know, I'm glad to finally meet Donald in the virtual flesh.
Yes.
Virtual. Any final parting thoughts from Uncle Don Don?
You know what? If you like somebody, explore them. Don't listen to your friends. Stay off the internet. Touch grass and live on.
Okay, we gonna stop yapping for y'all. But until the next time we check in with y'all, we'll catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Adios.